Jujutsu Kaisen was a good series. Now it's not anymore. No, this isn't like a troll video or whatever. This is my honest to God opinion on this series now. I do want to first off say that if you still like this series, it's fine by me because everyone is entitled to their opinions. But for me now, this series is honestly horrific and should honestly be thrown in the dumpster due to how terrible it is now. Also, I want to say real quick that this is my first video and you're going to be able to tell due to my most likely bad audio and poor editing skills because I'm not good at those and I don't have the equipment to make high quality videos. Now, getting on to the video, I'm going to break this down into multiple categories. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to start off with the good part because I'm most likely going to talk for a good long while about the terrible parts of the series. So, the first half of JJK, aka like the first arc all the way to Shibuya, was incredible. The characters were cool, the fights were awesome. JJK was shaping itself up to be one of the best mangas to ever exist with just the first half alone. There was something special about JJK with the first half because it really felt like something unique was going to happen. The characters all felt like they had a place and were going to go somewhere. Yuji seemed like he was going to be one of the best shonen protagonists in a while due to how Akutami, the author, was shaping him up to be. Mahito was an awesome, amazing villain and a great contrast to Yuji's character. Mahito, in my opinion, is still one of JJK's best characters. The side cast was also really fun, with their personalities at least being cool to see on screen. The Gojo's past arc was a great arc, with Toji being a great character as well. My point is, the first half of JJK was amazing, alright? I could probably go on and on and on about how amazing the first half of JJK was. Granted, it's not perfect, but it was extremely fun, and that's like my thing. I like fun series, and JJK's first half was extremely fun. That was until the second half started, and this is where the series has fallen off massively, and its fall off was honestly some of the saddest things I have ever seen. Where to even begin with this? First off, the side characters now suck hard ass. Literally every single one of them except for Yuta, Hikari, and Gojo are the only good side characters now. Everyone else is now terrible. Everyone else is now wasted potential. First off, we got Miwa. There were literal panels of her walking through the Colon Games with a serious look. Back when that panel dropped, I thought Miwa was going to be a cool character now. She's going to have some huge growth, especially with the fact that Kokichi is now gone. She was going to be a different person, I thought. However... What the hell? Yeah. What the hell was the point of those panels if nothing was going to happen with it? Momo has always sucked. She was never a good character, and it's a shame that the actress who played her also played Kagura from Gintama. Excellent series, by the way, with actually good writing. Another bad thing is the fact that the side cast that is not Yuta, Maki, Hikari, or Gojo is just completely useless and does nothing now. I know that the series isn't over, so maybe all of this statement will come back to bite me later, but what the hell was the point of having Charles here if he's not going to do anything? Before you say, do I expect every character to have something? No, because that's just the state of writing. Not every character is going to be massive and have a huge purpose. But seriously, what was the point of him? Just to show off Hikari's domain expansion? To show Hikari having a manga brain? I don't get it. I really don't. Another problem that I have is, where the hell is Toto? There is literally no goddamn excuse for why he's out of this story. Because you know why? Reverse curse technique can heal missing limbs. Gojo did it. Sukuna did it. Yuta literally healed Maki's missing leg from JJK 0. There is no excuse for why he is gone at all. Literally none. He isn't dead, so I don't see the point of him being absent. It's not to say that Toto is a bad character now, but where the hell is he? Why was Miwa's useless ass still here when all she does is just fuck all throughout the entire series? Another thing is that the Culling Games was horrific, with some of the most mid-ass fights that JJK has ever had, except for Yuta versus everybody he fought in that tiny little section, and Hikari versus Kashimo. The arc was goddamn awful, just awful. It could have been one of the best arcs in the series, but instead, it's terrible. It's actually mind-numbing how we go from Shibuya to this. I seriously want to know what goes through Akutami's stupid-ass head when he makes this story now, because I swear to God, it doesn't take the brain power of Albert Einstein or Oppenheimer to make a coherent, well-written story. I get it, not everyone is in it for the writing, but sometimes shit has to get so bad where it even sucks the fun out of a series. The Culling Games was filled with nothing but empty promises. I think another thing that was pretty bad was Mai. Mai had so much potential as a character, but guess what? Dead. All for Maki's, air quotes, development, which I will get into later on how Maki just flat out does not work anymore. But Mai had a lot of potential to be one of the best. She could have had at least something to her, but no, she's dead now. Cool. Thanks, Akutami. Real poetry right there. And before anyone says, her death served a purpose. Yes, of course I know that. But a character can serve their purpose without dying, you know. That's the problem with JJK now. It tries so hard to be edgy. Like, extremely hard. Nothing about this story's edge doesn't work in the slightest. Why? Because dark stories can have some light in them. Berserk has some light moments. Nier Automata has some. Dark stories just need to have some light to them. And no, I am not saying everything needs to be some MCU bullshit with jokes every 5 seconds, but there needs to be some nice moments with actual character bonding, but there isn't any. And I don't want to hear the excuse of, well, Shibuya was the turning point of the story, so of course the tone would be different. Well, guess what? The eclipse was the turning point, and how we knew why Guts is doing what he is doing, but even then, the moment of Guts bonding with the people in the story and the small quips and funny moments make you think back on the fact that Guts is now finally turning around to be a better person now due to how he's acting now rather than he did previously. JJK, on the other hand, is just full edge galore, and it sucks. It's edgy for the sake of edgy. And another thing I want to say is that Tsukumo is an awful character and a waste. She, like many other characters, had so much promise. Guess what though? Dead. All for the sake of showing how strong Kenjaku is, which I'll get into that abomination of a villain later. In her first fight, she dies. Now, I wouldn't be mad at this if she was like a lower level character or something. But no, she's fucking special grade. To give you an example of how stupid that is, imagine if Madara had all that build up, all that tension, and then he dies to the Shinobi Alliance. Real underwhelming, don't you think? And if that's a little too easy or not enough, imagine if Kenpachi was first shown off in Bleach, but then he dies against Ichigo. Underwhelming as shit. Now the key word there is die, dead, whatever. That's the problem with Tsukumo. She fucking died. It all would have been fine if she lost but got knocked out or something, but instead she flat out dies for a suicide move that didn't even work in the end because, go figure, nothing can ever go right for our protagonist in this stupid ass story. Now, I'm not saying that the protagonist should just steamroll everything in their path because it loses tension, but there has to at least be at some point where the protagonists have to have a W against the major villains and not like the minor antagonists, kind of like the Culling Games antagonists. Now, that's just the bad. The ugly, it's so much worse. So much worse. I'm pretty sure this is where the meat of the video is going to be, so I'm going to break this down by like many things. So first off, Yuji is a awful protagonist now. Just truly awful. Here's why. He doesn't do anything anymore. Before literally anybody says he is weaker than some of the cast members, so of course he isn't going to do much. Yeah, sure, but do you know who else was weaker than the rest of the cast and yet still had a prominent role in their story? Kuroko from Kuroko no Basket. This guy, Kuroko, is weaker than legitimately everyone else in the series that are the heavy hitters, and yet he still had a lot of focus on him. And that's the problem. Yuji has no focus. If you ask me, the most important character in your story has to be the main character. Not a side character, not the villain, not a pet character, the main character. If you don't focus on them, then what is the point of them being the main character? And that's the problem with Yuji. He hasn't done anything as a character for so long. It's actually insulting, and I would much rather have Yuta be the main character now. So, imagine, right? Your favorite main character in anything. Could be a game, movie, TV show, whatever. Imagine their role in the story cut down by 60 to 70%. It would drive you goddamn insane. And another thing that's stupid about Yuji is the fact that when he first meets back up with Fushiguro, when he met Hana for the first time, he automatically feels like she would replace Nobara. Fucking what? Now, I'm not saying that there's nothing particularly wrong with feeling like someone is a replacement or whatever, because it's natural. Some people just do feel that way. However, the way that Yuji said it was just absolutely just nonsensical. Because first off, Hana sucks, by the way, does absolute jack shit other than unsealing Gojo. Isn't even remotely close to Nobara. Not even in terms of personality. Like, why would you even see Nobara as a potential replacement? So stupid, dude. And then it makes legitimately no sense later on when Hana gets hurt by Sukuna. All of a sudden, Yuji is upset and mad like it was a lifetime friend of his being hurt. Like, you met this person for like a short amount of time and you're already feeling this much hatred and rage. It makes no sense. Now, you can say it's just Yuji's good-hearted nature to not see anyone hurt. Yeah, but even good-hearted people just don't feel that much attachment to someone they just met. It's just not possible. Because if you did, you're a weirdo. Because how do you meet someone and already feel like you spent years with each other? Also, his skirmish with Sukuna should have been longer, but of course not, because then that would mean like an actual character moment, that would mean something, but clearly Akutami doesn't want that. However, instead, what we get is a skirmish that lasts 2 chapters. Stupid. Like, just absolutely stupid. This fight should have been the real character dynamic with Sukuna and Yuji, like with Ichigo and White, but it's not. Now, actually, speaking of Sukuna is not a good villain anymore. Oh my god, how dare I say that? Unfortunately, it's how I feel now. I have nothing against pure evil villains who have no morals and are absolute bastards of a person, because Joker and Green Goblin are some of my favorites, and they are also pure evil. Like, no question about it. But the pure evil personality trait with Sukuna is getting so goddamn old that it actually hurts when he starts being evil. I know he has a character and a reason why he's evil, because he has like a might makes right attitude, but holy god, man, it's his only personality trait throughout this story, and it will and does get so old so fast and quick. Joker has more to him as a character and displays more personality than being evil, and it's not the same thing over and over again. Sukuna's evilness is so overdone and quite frankly getting so boring now. I get he's a villain, but villains need to display more personality than their evilness. And speaking of villains, Kenjaku. Oh my god. Kenjaku is one of the worst villains I have ever seen in all of the media I have consumed. First off, he is so boring. I get he's a smart villain, but this guy has no charisma. At least smart villains have some charisma. Now, he isn't the smartest villain, but Loki has so much charisma, and he used to be a villain. Again, Joker has charisma. Griffith has charisma. This guy, no charisma. You know what's worse than that? Plot armor. He has plot armor supreme. I keep on hearing people say because he's been alive for so many years, it gives him to the excuse to survive Sukumo's black hole ability. No, it doesn't. How in God's name are we supposed to know that Yuji's mom had an anti-gravity move? We didn't. There's nothing that states she had one. Just because we are shown his mom does not mean that was foreshadowing the ability. Not even her name means anything that relates to it. It's blatant plot armor. And also, why the hell does JJK need something like a black hole attack? What made JJK special was the fact that it was people with powers who do end up fighting hand-to-hand at some points, utilizing their powers. But a fucking black hole? It's the equivalent to Naruto shooting spirit bombs out of nowhere when it's supposed to be like a story about ninjas and shinobis. Now, if plot armor wasn't bad enough, the stuff that he orchestrates throughout the story is also stupid. How in the actual hell does he just walk into the White House and somehow convinces one of the higher-ups, whoever the hell they were, don't even care anymore, to just invade Japan? Now, I know it's fiction, but as far as I know, you can't just walk into the White House because you'll most likely get pushed out, or if push comes to shove, you get shot up. So how did he just waltz in? Don't know. By the way, that whole section with America invading Japan was so stupid and pointless anyway. How does he walk up to China and convince them to be enemies to Japan to drop a bomb on them? Don't know. How did he become the head of the Kamo clan without anyone noticing he looks like Gito? Don't know. He's smart for the sake of smart without giving us any reason for why we should fear him. Also, literally nothing goes wrong for this guy, making him an actual Gary Stu, because nothing goes wrong for him in the slightest. Nothing. At least with Aizen, things went wrong. At least with Light Yagami, things went wrong. At least with Lelouch, things went wrong. Kenjaku, on the other hand, literally nothing. Kenjaku is such a lame-ass villain with nothing behind him and literally no character. I really should also state right now, because the fact that JJK isn't over, some of my thoughts could change if the series actually becomes better, but nothing will change with Kenjaku. That is engraved in stone. Kenjaku is just a flat-out, terribly made, awfully written villain. Another thing, Maki sucks. I said I was going to talk about this a while back, but now I'm going to talk about it. I just don't think Akutami actually understood what made Toji strong in the first place. Yes, Toji had abnormal strength and speed, and so does Maki, but the thing is, though, is that the only reason why Toji even stood a chance against Gojo is because he tired him out beforehand. But the second Gojo, awakened or whatever, he literally got one shot by Purple, which to be expected is Purple, but still, he got literally one shot, stood no chance. Maki, on the other hand, is somehow on the level of Toji, but is able to keep up with Sukuna. If Toji fought Sukuna, he would die instantly. So why does Maki stand a chance and is supposedly the second line of defense? Don't know. That's this whole series in a nutshell. It's don't know. Now, I'm going to get this one out of the way because it is by far the most baffling, nonsensical, stupidest decision I've ever seen. Why is Nobara's status such a goddamn mystery? There is no excuse, literally none. Just say whether she's dead or not. Just fucking say it. It's not that hard. If Akutami's wanting me to wait for her return by leading me with like a carrot in front of my face, it didn't work. Because guess what? I don't care for Nobara anymore. Her status should have been revealed so much earlier. Because guess what? I don't care anymore. If a character is dead, say it. If a character is alive, show us. not that hard. Akutami has waited too long for me to be excited for her return if she is alive. I won't even be shocked if she's dead, but even if she's alive, I won't be shocked too, because I don't care anymore. Not only about her, but also for the story. Another thing, Yorozu should have been a good character, but guess what? She's not. She sucks. Dies for the sake of Fushiguro's development because, she looks like his sister, which I don't even understand the whole thing, but whatever. If you have to make a character die for the sake of development, then that character served literally no purpose. Not a single purpose with them. What happened to the days by developing characters, by having them do something meaningful as a character? But JJK doesn't develop its characters anymore. Now, another point. I just want everyone to know that I'm not saying this as a Gojo fan. I knew Sukuna was gonna win. Like, I really did. It wasn't even that hard to see coming, by the way. Like, if you still thought that Gojo was going to win, I gotta say, you were holding on to false hope, my guy. But the means of Sukuna's victory makes the whole fight pointless. The fight ended so abruptly. Like, I saw Gojo dying coming. Like again, let's just be real. But the fact that it ended like that was just awful. It was, the fight between them was so good. And I thought JJK was actually going to finally be good again with that fight. But I was wrong. I should not have held so much expectations for that. But its end was so bad. Like, the narrative was always going to be on Sukuna's side. I expected that and accepted it. But the ending, it's so stupid and just blatantly bad writing. I don't care what anyone says. That was so goddamn stupid. And the whole fight just means nothing now. Sukuna was not only carried by Mahoraga, he was also carried by Akutami's bad writing. Now, onto my final point, and it's the ugliest of all. There is no character bonding in this story anymore. Just nothing. There used to be, but just not anymore. It's not even a shred. I don't want to hear it's the end of the world or it's a battle shonen excuse, because even when things were dire in a dark ass story like Berserk, there's still character bonding in the story. Makes us care for the characters, makes us appreciate the group that they are with, makes us appreciate the calm before the storm. But character bonding is important, but there is none of that anymore. There is no excuse. There could have been a big chunk of chapters before the Gojo and Sukuna fight where it shows everyone bonding. But of course there's none of that. We gotta get into the fight that ended so shittily for a fight that's supposed to be, hyped up and since the first chapter. But the characters now are just hollow husks of nothing. Kashima's only character is that he likes fighting. Why? Don't know. Just feels like it, I guess. What is Yuji's relationship with everyone now? Don't know, because we don't see it anymore. That's the problem with JJK. It moves too fast, too quickly, to the point that the characters don't mean anything anymore. Fights are not the most important thing in stories, believe it or not. Fights can help, it can be entertaining, but it's not important. The thing that makes a story work is the characters. However, there are no characters anymore. Just blatant, hollow, almost caricature characters now. JJK was so good in the beginning, but now it's sad to see such a good series go downhill, and it's only going to get worse. Especially after the recent Gojo Sukuna fight fiasco, it's just going to get worse. So, that's the end of the video. I understand that's definitely a hot take, but, just understand that it's just my opinion on the series. it's fine to disagree with me, because after all, everyone is entitled to their opinions, and I'd like to see your thoughts on JJK. If you like this video, give it a like, maybe subscribe. Who knows? You can do whatever. Anyways, I'm out.